So right now they're evacuating every car that's in downtown out. You're not allowed in. You're only allowed to bring your vehicle out. They said right now we could still walk in there. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but it looks like the police are pulling out all the stops. I'm not sure if they're worried about these cars being torched or vandalized by Black Lives Matter or exactly what's going on here, but we're going to go in there, meet with our security, and check it out. So these folks that you see here are all dressed up. They're here to protest racism. They think Red Deer's a racist town. And we want to know from folks who are actually from here if that's sort of the sense you get.
Absolutely not. I don't think it is racist here at all. No.
Why do you think they're picking on you guys?
I have no idea. I wonder that myself every day. I have no idea.
The rally over there was saying that the folks here in Red Deer are racists. And there's a huge racist problem here in Red Deer. Would you agree with that?
No, not whatsoever.
Why do you think they're targeting Red Deer?
I'd like to know.
Yeah. Well, have a good day. Take care.
Start telling the truth when you're reporting.
We absolutely will. Rebel News. These people were sounding entirely too reasonable, so I decided to go speak to the radical SJWs that came into town. Could I ask you a quick question? What brings you out here?
As someone who was like born Cree, Métis, and very white passing, it's just like...
I quickly zoned out after the 8th SJW buzzword and got straight to the point. Do you support defunding the police?
Defunding the police would help a lot, actually.
Last week, there was an assault here, and the first people that were called by, I believe it was your camp, was the police. Do you see the sort of hypocrisy there?
In some places I do, but it's just like...
Did this person actually bring a golf club to a protest? Tens of thousands of dollars, if not $100,000. This is an insane amount of money that the city and the province is spending to deal with these radicals who've come in from cities outside of Red Deer to project their own mental health issues on the city, on the town, to claim that the town is racist, that the people in this town are racist, when really that's not the problem. And I tend to believe the locals, when I speak to them, that that's just not an issue that they've dealt with.
Not very brave about a keyboard in front of you.
Sorry, what?
I said you're not very brave
Without a keyboard in front of me?
Yeah, you troll me all the time.
Who are you? I literally do not know who that person is. Turns out she was a CBC reporter. She just looked a lot different than her Twitter avatar, so I didn't recognize her. Police have pulled out all of the stops to make sure that this is probably the safest place in Alberta right now, but they didn't take away weapons from these radicals here. Now I want to show you an interesting photo that I took from my own cell phone as I was sort of watching what was going down here. And check out these two individuals who are right next to this radical with a golf club. That is Janice Irwin and that is David Eggen. David Eggen was formerly tasked with leading Alberta's schools. He was the former Minister of Education. He absolutely failed at that, of course. He was a terrible Minister of Education. But Janice Irwin is a new MLA. She is the most radical member of the NDP caucus right now, and she's hanging out with folks bringing weapons to protest. I wonder why that is. Now, the police specifically said at the perimeter of downtown that that was a weapon and it would be taken away, but for some reason, they just didn't. Now I decided to go speak to the counter-protesters. The mainstream media always asks, who could possibly counter-protest an anti-racism rally? Well, I thought I would ask. Are you racist?
Never have been. My children are Cree.
There you go. So I guess that...
And my sister-in-law's Chinese and my nieces and nephews, so yeah, it'd be kind of hard. A little awkward.
So you're not a racist? You're not a racist?
Never have been. No, I never would be.
Why do you think they think that you are a racist?
I think it's because they're afraid to talk to us, because we've tried a number of times to engage or talk to them. We've expressed a concern for an element there that's coming up from the States that's turned very violent from there. And that seems to threaten them, that we're questioning what their purpose is and what they're trying to achieve in Canada. And I think that seems to threaten them.
So it's quite literally raining on these guys' parade right now, and they're going through residential Red Deer. This isn't in downtown anymore. This is in front of people's homes. This is what we're seeing in the United States. I said just a week ago that we're going to start seeing the violence that was in the United States here in Canada, and now we have Black Lives Matter, Indigenous uprising, whatever this is, harassing the locals in Red Deer. And the mainstream media is eating it all up to feed it to everyone else in Alberta, to tell them that this is actually okay. That bringing this kind of thug politics from the US into Canada is a great idea. They've got the same masks that that was nice of that guy. Hey? That was very nice of that guy. So can you leave? He's not, like, you don't have to bother him. You can bother me all you want. Just leave my cameraman out of it, okay?
I'm just standing in front of the camera, man.
Yeah, but why? Just why don't you leave him out of it? Hold up for a second. The NDP, Alberta's former government, now opposition, is marching in this rally alongside this chap here carrying the anarcho-communism flag. This is a flag calling for violent rejection of the state and the institution of an anarchist communist society. That's who the NDP are identifying with? Now, who could forget about the two radical NDP MLAs who were taking part in this protest? They were given a speaking slot, and right after that, an Indigenous dancer started performing. Of course, they scurried out before he was done his performance in order to get away from yours truly. Unfortunately for them, my cameraman and I are quick on our feet. Sorry guys, you snuck away from me. I've been meaning to ask you a question all day. How are you doing? Do you still stand by what you called for? You called for Extinction Rebellion radicals to be brought into the classroom. Do you stand by that? Why were you standing next to folks with weapons today? Communist stickers. Do you support that whole movement? Do you stand by asking for terrorists to be brought into the Alberta classroom? Do you stand by that? See you, David. Janice Irwin can't defend what she said or what she's done because, frankly, she probably doesn't even remember it. She probably just blurts out whatever radical extremist idea floats into her head. That's why she was at a rally that contained extremists, instigators, people holding weapons. That's the person Janice Irwin is. That's the people that Janice Irwin likes to associate with. Radical extremists, dangerous extremists, people who are shipped into Red Deer from Edmonton and Calgary, but mostly Edmonton, where she's from, to terrorize and harass the people of Red Deer. It is wrong. They're invading systematically every small town that they can think of, saying that every small town in Alberta is racist and has a problem that needs to be dealt with the heavy, thuggish mob hands, mob tactics of those extremists in that park over there that we just left. It's a massive problem. Now, if you enjoyed the reporting that we did here on the scene, I encourage you to go to reddeerinvasion.com. If you go there, you can check out the full story. And if you could pitch in a few bucks, my cameraman had to fly in here from Toronto. We got security. He did a great job keeping us safe when folks were running around with golf clubs and spray bottles that God knows what was in. It was probably bleach, maybe water. We have no idea, but that is the kind of tactics they run with. CBC, of course, they were safe. They were here. So was Global News, CTV. They were safe because they were supporting and sharing the narrative that these extremists wanted them to. They're lapdogs for these extremists. If you want to keep seeing the other side of the story, the side of the story that the mainstream media certainly isn't going to run down that street to get, I encourage you to go to reddeerinvasion.com and please pitch in a few bucks so we can keep doing the work that we're doing to share this story with you when the mainstream media most definitely will not. For Rebel News, I'm Keean Bexte. I think it's safe to say that hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent on this. That helicopter, that RCMP helicopter, is still circling around right now. There are hundreds of staff from the city of Red Deer pitching in to make sure that these extremists felt safe while they invaded their own small town. The taxpayers here in Red Deer were on the hook. Now, the CBC isn't going to share that story with you. We're sharing that story with you. And if you want to help us keep doing that, please go to reddeerinvasion.com. There you can help us out, keeping me and my cameraman and my security guard on the road so that we can share the other side of the story.